Okay, good evening, everyone. This is the last town board meeting of the year, December 19th, 2024, and it is now 6 o'clock. We're going to open the meeting and then go into executive session. So why don't we start with a salute of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The emergency exits, for those of you who aren't in the room, is the door that we came through over there and the door behind Dawn, and we'll probably do that again when there are people in the room.
I was going to say you're going to do it again.
Roll call.
Supervisor Blackman?
Yes.
Council members Winters?
Yes.
Rebellard?
Here.
Ham? Here. And let the record reflect that Councilwoman Ahern will be absent this evening.
Okay, I would propose that we go into executive session for interviews. Yes.
I'd second that.
Supervisor Blackman?
Yes.
Council members Winters?
Yes.
Rebellard?
Yes.
Ham? Yes.
Great. I move that we come out of executive session.
I second.
Leo? At 7:03, and return to regular meeting. Supervisor Blackman?
Yes.
Council members Winters?
Yes.
Rebellard?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
And for our audience, just to know that we were notified by Councilwoman Ahern that she'll be absent this evening.
Okay. So we begin with public comment. Anyone have anything for us? What was that?
We've done all that.
We did that before, but we could do it again if you'd like to see it.
We're coming out of executive session.
Oh, and the exits too, we did, but I figure all of you know where those are, so. Okay, so then, does anyone have any comments? Oh, look at that, Ken Topolsky steps to the...
Every meeting I say, I'm not going to say anything, but there's always something that comes up.
Of course.
And in this case, it has to do with communication. So many of you ran on transparency as your most important issue, but I don't know what's going on. I'd like to suggest in the new year you put out a newsletter so that when I come up here and I say twice, today I went to the post office at 2:15, it wasn't open, but I was going to buy flowers, but I couldn't because there were no parking spaces. Now I've made that complaint twice. And it's sort of like, well, if that's a problem, that's a problem. Not for me, it's for the merchant. I don't know that any of you are doing anything about it. Now, you might be. I was thinking, God, you know, I go on the website twice a week, 3 times a week, and I remember how everyone complained the website's awful. Some of you even mentioned it in your campaigns. Well, it was awful when you first discussed it about 10 months ago. I didn't check exactly when. And you were going to do something about it. And I see today that there is a resolution. But for 10 months, I'm thinking, what do they do? Now, maybe you're talking about it, but in transparency. I feel out of transparency, I can tell you what's bothering me about the town. And I feel some reciprocity. And the best way to do that is with a newsletter saying this was discussed at the meeting. You could read the minutes, but beyond that, say, but also these events are going on, this new business is opening up, and creating a sense of community. And that all starts with all of you. So I suggest maybe assigning your new economic development committee a newsletter or something like that for communication, or there's got to be, beyond the Militant News, which I faithfully read because they do a good job of covering what you do. Then again, I'm here, so I already know it. So please, find a way to realize and live up to what you campaigned on.
Ken, I had a quick,
Sure.
just for clarification. When you say newsletter, do you mean like mail to each house or on the website?
No, online.
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 I would like to comment to that real quick. As far as parking, the town board just did agree to purchase a town vehicle, which our constables are going to start enforcing parking rules down, and we know that this is an issue. As far as getting information out, we're discussing about putting an LED sign down there, and Rex sends out a flyer every 3 months. So we're making the effort.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
Welcome. Anyone else? Judy.
Okay, ditto to Ken on the parking. It's not just a mere inconvenience. I don't get my mail delivered. So when I get shipments from Amazon that weigh 10 pounds, if I have to park in the Bank of Millbrook parking lot and carry the stuff over there, it's more exercise that I think I necessarily have to do. I'm going to respectfully disagree with him on the website. I strongly suspect that any website that comes from the new company that you are going to spend $10,700 in the first year minimum and $4,000 plus a year after that will not make any improvements if no one has come up with a sitemap. When you do websites, you need a sitemap. You need to tell the people who are making it, this is what we would like to go here, this is what we would like to go here. That's never been done, and it's crystal clear. I'm not sure if anyone has ever asked Dutchess County, who handles ours for us, whether they could make changes, that we'd like to see this here. If they could, that would seem to be the simplest solution. My other concern is that I see in looking at the agreement that they're talking about a new domain, a new .gov address, and new emails for everybody. I don't see how that's a good idea. I really, really don't. People are going to have to relearn everything that they've done for the last however many years we've had this website. And I just think it's moving ahead because everybody says do something. Sometimes doing something is not the best choice if you haven't thought through what that something should be. I see it's on the agenda. I hope that it's not going to go through and be a done deal, but I'm just trying to be, you know, a little bit of a canary in the coal mine. This is not going to necessarily make anything better.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Anyone else?
Everybody's under 3 minutes.
I'm sorry?
I said everybody's under 3 minutes. We're doing good.
Oh, good. Jim, anyone else? No? Okay. Then we are moving on. I got complaints about my supervisor's report being too long. Well, at least from Charlie. So I'm going to try to make this shorter than usual.
I'm telling you right under the boss there.
I know. We had another meeting with the highway employees union, and we resolved the contract, which just requires ratification from both sides. So that's some progress. And similarly with the ambulance, we have a contract ready for signature with Northern Dutchess Paramedic for EMS coverage, and it's significantly less, at least for the first year, significantly less than they had originally told us. Fountain Square, the Enhancement Committee is trying to figure out now the scope of the electrical work and paving that needs to happen. The bank is graciously paying for the plantings, but there's infrastructure work we have to do as well, so we need to draw that up and get prices. The Water District...
You skipped Highway Garage.
I skipped Highway Garage. Oh yeah, I did skip Highway Garage, thank you. See, that would have made it shorter. The most recent meeting, the architects showed laying the site out differently in terms of where the building is located and the way the driveway gets into the site, both of which seem to be good things. And they've started to lay out the interior, and apparently they've sent us sketches, which I haven't had a chance to open this afternoon, based on they've made changes based on our comments already. The Water District was, I think I just left over from the last time, I'm sorry. Oh no, I guess I'm not. Delaware, we're voting later, but Delaware has kind of created a first project for us that they're going to draw up so we can address some of the bigger some of the bigger problems with the system, which is mostly the stuff that's at Delaverne. And VRI, our water operator, has sent us a proposal to test and map all of the valves that are in the water system now, because every time we've had a pipe burst, there's no way to shut off it, there's no way to shut off a small section of the town. And the last time, apparently someone was getting their hair bleached and the water went off. So, and we don't want to be responsible for that. So anyway, we'll be looking at that tonight. The Parade of Lights was this past Saturday, and everyone seemed to have a great time. Thanks to the fire company and Enhancement for putting this together. We awarded, I'm sorry, the Wassaic Parade of Lights, not the Amenia one. We awarded Wassaic Citizen of the Year to Anna Hajek for her history of caring for the plants in both hamlets. And I know that actually she worked with Charlie to do the decorations in the center of Wassaic. There was a Celtic music concert Saturday in the Town Hall Auditorium. Both it and the parking lot were full, which I haven't seen before, at least not in a very long time. That was nice. And so thanks to Joseph Sobel and John Nowak for organizing that, and again, great music and performers. State of the town, I wanted to sort of kind of reflect on what we accomplished in 2024, but I'll do that the second meeting of 2025, and hope you all have a great time over the holidays with family and friends.
I got a quick question for you on your supervisor's report.
Okay.
When is the town board going to see the contract for the union? I mean, it sounds like you've negotiated this contract and you're saying it's ready to ratify. I haven't seen any language.
Ian? The town board just wants to know when they see the
Highway employees.
the highway employee contract before it's ratified.
So your labor council, I'm presuming, has negotiated that.
Right.
That will be presented to the board at some point with a resolution to be accepted. I would contact labor council, see if you can circulate it now. At this point, I'm not aware of where the negotiations are. I haven't been part of them either, so
Okay.
I mean, that's all with labor council.
Okay?
It just seems odd that it seems to be ready to ratify and we haven't seen anything yet. That's all. I could be wrong. I'm just saying.
No. I mean, it's kind of a little bit, the union doesn't really like that to be revealed.
I understand that, but they still, it's, at the end of the day, the union is signing a contract with the town board as a whole.
Okay.
If they don't want the rest of us to see it, then I guess we don't have to sign the contract.
There you go.
I don't believe that's the case. I believe what has happened is generally there are people who are designated to do the negotiation. The negotiation occurs, there's a draft, the draft
And we
should come to the board.
We should get an update from them. Okay.
Okay, town clerk's report.
All right, good evening. Just so everybody knows, the minutes of November 21st and December 5th were circulated this evening to the board. For our vouchers, we got to authorize our supervisor to pay claims. General Fund A, $192,393.81. Highway Fund, $85,260.19. Amenia Lighting, $1,128.12. Wassaic Lighting, $432.15. Wassaic Lighting, $27,513.90. So at this time, I'm seeking authorization for the supervisor to pay claims in a total amount of $306,728.17.
You didn't make a supervisor's report, did you? That I'm searching through for no reason?
No.
Okay.
So is that, somebody want to make that motion?
Yes,
You want to make
I'll
that?
motion that. That was my
second.
question.
I'll
We
second.
were about to start looking through papers and I didn't see anything.
No.
I'll motion that.
You signed the vouchers. Okay, so Supervisor Blackman?
Yes?
Councilmembers Winters?
Yes.
Revelar?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
I do know that you guys have had the opportunity to interview our ZBA members. Are you guys ready to make any action on that?
I make a motion that we appoint Craig Miley to the 5-year term and George Christensen for the alternate.
I'll second that.
And just so everybody knows, the 5-year term will be for a period commencing on 1/1/2025 and expiring on 12/31/2029. Supervisor Blackman?
Yes.
Council members Winters?
Yes.
Revillard?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Thank you. As we are not probably thinking about it because it's, holiday season, but I'm already ready to start thinking about Valentine's. And what happens during Valentine's here at the town hall? We have a blood drive. So I wanted to start off our
right.
first activity for 2025. I've been able to secure the date of February 5th. So there's no excuse. Everybody start drinking water now. You have a good meal. Start thinking heart healthy as we have our new year coming up. So with that being said, as I talk about 2025 and our holiday season, I just want to wish all of our residents and all of our family and our loved one from here to afar a very special holiday season. And for all of us that are remembering those that are not with us this season, our hearts are still there and we are still strong and we miss everyone dearly, but we still love. So this holiday season, spread some cheer, call a loved one that you may not talk to, because, we never know. So,
What time is the blood drive again on the 6th?
we start here at 3 o'clock,
3,
and it's the 5th,
the 5th.
yes. February 5th, 3 to 7:30,
Thank you.
Menia Town Hall, be there, be square.
Well, you got me
There are
signed up
usually
on it, so
snacks
I'll be
bought.
here.
I'm gonna go ahead and help you guys out. We're gonna acknowledge receipt and circulation prior to the meeting from our bookkeeper, our balance sheets, and our operating statements. And in our budget, in our packets tonight, I have from Mike Segelkin, the building inspector, his November monthly report showing a total income in the amount of $14,801.44. Also, I acknowledge receipt of the status of the report for violations. And we have from VRI, our water operator, their report from their Department of Health. And that's all I see for printed reports in our packets. So that'll conclude the town clerk's report.
Okay. So, no one from the highway department, so I assume we're not having a highway department report. Recreation, I assume.
Judy?
Oh, you can do recreation, that's great, okay.
We just held a special meeting upstairs. We would like to, we're aware that a number of people, including Rosanna Ham, our councilwoman, have been trying to work out swimming for Town of Amenia residents at Maplebrook. Where it is now is stuck on the fact that they do not have lifeguards, and they would like us to hire lifeguards if there are going to be townspeople swimming there. We just met at the rec commission and voted to ask the town board to create the position of lifeguard at the reorg meeting for next year, so that if and when we work this out, we will be able to hire lifeguards in order to begin the program instead of having to wait 3, 4, 5 weeks to get it on the town board agenda. If we could just create it at the beginning of the year, that would be most appreciated.
Thanks. Okay, thank you. And any other board or committee reports that I'm not thinking of? I guess not. Okay, discussion items. So the first thing is the Amenia Hamlet Sewer District Map Plan and Report, which you actually got a while ago, but I sent it out again. The wastewater committee wanted us to make a motion to accept the map plan and report and an agreement to proceed with the process if the wastewater committee is able to collect the majority of votes in the district. They're sort of concerned about moving ahead with the work they've been doing unless they know that there's support on the board.
So I was on the wastewater committee. This town, I've heard a lot of comments over the years to me about how they would like to be Millbrook or Millerton. Well, the only difference that this town doesn't have is we don't have a wastewater. When I was on that committee, I was one of the members that went out and knocked on the doors of residents, and it was roughly 65–70% of those residents told me face to face that they needed or wanted wastewater. This town's been trying since 1955 or something like that to get wastewater. If we do not get wastewater, this town does not grow a little bit. We want more restaurants, we want more little businesses downtown. We gotta have a wastewater. And it's that simple.
Well, I'll make a motion then that, that the board accepts the sewer district map plan report, and that we agree to proceed with the process if they collect enough votes to
I'll second
form the
that.
district.
You're going to hold a referendum, correct?
Well,
Yes.
so
There's a-
you have two choices. You have a referendum or you have a petition. So a referendum means only, right, Charlie, correct me if I'm wrong. Charlie, referendum, if you have a referendum, that means only one vote, right? And if it's a petition, you get more. Explain how it seems to be more democratic.
Yeah,
'cause I
so
didn't
there's
agree with it as well.
two ways to create a special district in New York. One is through petition, so you actually have petitions signed by members in that district. And you have to get, it's based off assessed value. In Amenia, because the district has both commercial and residential, you have to get 50% of the assessed value residential properties to say yes, and you have to get 50% of the overall to say yes. So they actually are petitioning the town board to create the district. The second way is for the town board to pass a resolution, which is subject to permissive referendum. And if 5% of those members who voted in the most recent election sign a petition, then it goes to a vote of the members in that district. The issue with the voting is that it is all property owners who are registered to vote get a vote, and if you are not, if you're a property owner and are not registered, you get one vote. So an example is ABC Corp owns 3 different properties. They get 1 vote for all 3 properties. The Smiths have 3 members of their family who own 123 Banana Street. They get 3 votes for their 1 property. So honestly, the petition is a much more difficult way to go, but it's more representative because you ultimately have to go out and get enough petitions for all of them. I will say that the project is not feasible if we don't do the petition route because the timing doesn't work. A large portion.
Historically, how often are these districts created by a petition versus referendum? Real quick. Just round up.
The vast majority are created by petition unless you're in a village, because the town board can create a district assigning the whole village as the special district, and that's not subject to permissive referendum.
Thank you.
Charlie, since we're in a discussion period here, the only thing I ask that the committee does is, when you create, I'm sure you're going to create a spreadsheet for your progress, is that it's shared regularly with the board members?
I'm sorry, what was that?
So in the process of doing the petitions, you'll most likely create a spreadsheet, correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, we will, I mean, this is a heavy lift for...
Spreadsheet for everything.
Yeah, it's a heavy lift for the committee, I will say, because a petition has to be signed and notarized. So one, we would advertise for people to come in and sign the petition with the town clerk, because it will be available at the town clerk's office. The committee will also go around, which is what frequently happens, with a notary and knocking on doors to have, people, yeah, we'll have to see if Dawn will do that for us, or there's other notaries here too. As well as contact, we have some absent owners, that we will have to reach out to who, especially on the commercial side. But we have to get this done before really kind of like the beginning of January, February, March, because a large portion of the funding that makes this whole project works is the BIL, and this is the last year of the BIL. So what the committee is asking, yes, we will keep a spreadsheet because we're trying to reach that number, right?
That's all I asked.
We're trying to get to that number. But the committee specifically wants a confirmation from there's 4 members here. It has to be a supermajority, because ultimately, if we deliver petitions from property owners asking for the district to be formed, then you have to accept that and pass a bonding resolution. Because we need that bonding resolution to apply for grants. And we want to make sure that we have a supermajority of the board who now publicly will say yes if you deliver us petitions from property owners wishing to create this district, that you will accept those and pass that bonding resolution.
This vote was not on the agenda, so before any vote is taken, I would request a chance to ask a question.
Okay. And Mike wants you to go to the podium.
podium.
in the
In
next-
summary,
Go-
Judy
If you're gonna
asked,
speak, you're gonna have to go to the
so
podium.
Judy's asking she's speaking from the audience, she's asking the town board, before they vote, this was not an agenda item for action, this was an agenda item for discussion.
But we
That's
can we can make motions as a board.
And I did actually announce
Correct.
that we were asked to make a motion, but you're right.
And you're not passing a resolution, you're not doing anything. The committee is just asking for people to be on the record that you will support, the acceptance of the petitions.
Yeah. So this isn't technically accepting the map plan.
No, this is not accepting the map
So
plan.
the wording of
report,
this
yeah.
Isn't clear.
isn't clear in.
I didn't write the
No,
words.
I understand that. So can I ask for
So this
clarification?
is more of a vote of confidence, so to
Yes.
speak. Okay.
So should that be written?
If it doesn't have any
Should that be written?
value, then why are you doing it?
That should be
I'm going
writ-
to seek clarification as soon as
Okay.
everybody stops.
Yep, thank you. Yeah.
Because I sought clarification because he made a motion to accept the map plan report,
Yeah.
He did, and I seconded it.
and it was seconded, and now we're having discussion from podium and audience and table. So I'm just seeking clarification from my own understanding for the minutes to your motion. Would you like to repeat it so we all understand what you are?
I'll do my best.
But,
What?
just,
There's-
so
but
we're
when you
not
say he's
accepting the
saying-
map.
He
so-
said to accept the map
Right.
plan report.
So make sure that you phrase it, that you're going to,
Yes.
you're
To
giving
the
them
next.
permission basically to go out and do the petition.
Let me, let me try to,
We're not approving that at that point.
let me try to clean this up. We do have a pending motion, right? So, and I think the way the motion was expressed was not technically what I think the wastewater committee is asking for.
Correct.
And I think at that point, then, whoever made the motion should withdraw the motion, and perhaps the wastewater committee can actually phrase how they want, or what they're asking of the board to vote on.
That'll work.
That's a good idea. I withdraw my motion.
And I'll second that.
Sorry, Charlie, but that's
that's
that's the way it should go.
Okay, so we rescinded the motion, so now, please.
We have a clean slate.
Let's start over.
The wastewater committee would like the town board to publicly express their support of creating the district if the adequate number of petitions are delivered to you.
I'll motion that.
Okay, I'll second that.
Pretty good. Supervisor Blackman?
Yes.
Council members Winters?
Yes,
Revillard?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes,
thank you.
Okay. Very exciting. All right. The next item is the Fountain Square landscape design, which I think is still sitting
It's
back
over.
there.
Has that been posted or printed out anywhere? I'm
Did
wondering.
we put that on the website? No, we can, but, well, unless the enhancement committee did, I'm not sure. But that's a good idea.
It's very beautiful, everybody, back there in TV land. I looked at it tonight.
And we'll try to get it up on the website tomorrow. Anyway, the deal is that the Bank of Millbrook is paying for the plantings. We're not entirely sure if they're apparently paying for a sprinkler system. What we're not sure is whether they're paying for the electrical work as well. There's a fair amount of electrical work that needs to happen. When it was installed, a lot of it was done with interior receptacles and such, and it needs to be done to meet code. So we're going to have to draw that up and get an idea of what that would cost, what the town would have to come up with in order to do that. I mean, I think we could probably get some grant money, but it is, that is going to cost some additional money.
When I was on rec, I was quoted 25, 30,000 to replace the electrical down there.
At Fountain Square?
Yeah. That's
Okay.
how much work needed to be done.
Okay. So, but we need to, we'll need to put together a request for proposal depending on how expensive it is, but we're going to need to get quotes certainly from 3 people who can do, well, 3 electricians and 3 masons, basically.
Hope the electricians are paying attention around town.
Yes, you'd be very heroic to do this.
They're all watching tonight.
Okay, electricians.
Just be aware that you got prevailing wage issues to deal with.
Anyway, Ian, do you want to update us on the transfer of the charcoal kilns?
Sure. So we conducted a phase 1 that recommended a phase 2. Phase 2.
I'm sorry, phase 1 what?
Environmental, sorry.
Oh, thank you.
Phase 1 environmental. And the owner of the property, he retained somebody, which saved the town a significant chunk of change. That report has just come out, and I've spoken with council on it. I still need to speak with our engineer on it. But once that is finalized, then that's really the last hurdle that I see, and we will be hopefully in the early 2025 transferring the property.
Okay,
So
that
are we
would be
gonna take all
exciting.
that fencing down and everything that's there?
No.
No,
Can't touch it.
it's been put up specifically for that.
Hmm?
That was put up specifically by the current owner
Mm-hmm.
as to kind of outline and protect the property and the parcel itself.
So, but there's not parking in that corral. It looks like a corral to me.
There's 3 parking spaces.
Yeah, there's 3 parking
Yeah,
spaces
but then, so
outside
then
of
you
that.
got that wooden corral sitting there, which seems kind of new to me, which was, I used to drink beer in there back in the 80s.
Oh, that's been up for a while, Paul.
But,
I mean,
yeah.
that's
I know,
been up,
no,
I think,
I-
for a year.
Yeah, I know, but I'm asking, is that, what purpose does that corral serve? is what
I
I'm
think it's
asking.
just to protect the property. The parking, there's parking for 3 cars,
Cars,
if I remember
that's the way
correctly.
it's about always.
And
been.
then I think that is,
It
that
also
is
prevents
for-
people from going,
In
or
there and drink beer.
you don't, it's outlining where the public can be in there. You don't want people just wandering, and I'm sure the owner doesn't want people wandering over that fence into his property. So that's all part of the
We've been
the
fishing,
boundaries of the
the community's
property.
been fishing that road for I don't know how many years, way before even I was
Are we
thought of.
preventing anyone to get for fishing?
I don't know,
with that
it
fence?
just seems like a weird spot for that fence, that's all. I'm
All
just
right.
saying.
They probably don't want people in there drinking beer either, so.
Well, no, I'm not talking about the gates on the kilns themselves. I'm talking about the split rail fence corral that's in front of the kilns. That seems like a weird thing to have there in front of the kilns. I don't understand it.
I know, they had to go through a process with the State Historic Preservation Officer, and there was like a whole variety of things that they apparently were asked to
it's
do,
all
but I
subject to-
agree, I mean, it's a little bit strange, but
It
we
just
can go
seems
look
odd.
at it.
It looks like a corral. I asked what kind of animal was being kept in there.
Ooh, that's not a bad idea.
That's what it looked like to me. It'd be something for, keep a goat or something in.
Huh, okay, and that would keep the lawn down. Okay, Ian, I guess next is the EV charging station, since that got very complicated when we saw a survey.
Yeah, the survey kind of changed the event on that and changed perhaps how we're going to handle proceeding on that. I have reached out, spoke with Bob Balkine. He's provided me all the documentation that he has. I've gone, I've reviewed that documentation, and actually I've discussed potential remedies to the situation with Bob Balkine, and the county is working with us, which is great. We also obtained contact for the state, which I have a call into them now. That's the next leg of that. As soon as I contact them, we'll iron out exactly what their expectations are, and then we'll proceed with that as well.
Okay. Like, the ownership is very complicated, and actually where the EV charging stations would be put is on town property, because the parking area that is not owned by the town actually overlaps the town property significantly, and we didn't realize that before, and no one seems to know if there's any easement by the state to actually take our property or use our property.
There's technically 3 interests in the real property there. I apologize, my eyes are itching a bit crazy for no reason. I don't know why, sorry. The state owns portion of the land, Amenia owns a portion of the land, the county rents it, and there is some level of a service agreement by which the town has access to it.
We talking
So-
about the parking lot?
Yeah.
All of it, yeah. So there's, that creates a number of different legal intricacies that we're trying to resolve cleanly and efficiently. How about that?
So I got a quick question for you. 2 years ago, when Ms. Doyle there organized Town Cleanup Day, I filled about 6 bags of black contractor bags of garbage from the town land there. Has the town highway been ever out there with the machine to pull everything else out? Because at one point that was apparently the town dump.
No kidding, I didn't know that. I can ask
Yes.
the,
Ask them to please go out there with the backhoe or something.
Okay.
Because there was plenty of stuff that was halfway buried into the dirt that I couldn't pull out.
right, and there also were conversations with Habitat for Humanity about building a habitat house on that
That would be
property, but
great.
I haven't,
I think it'd be great.
yeah, but I haven't heard anything from them in a
Yeah,
while.
but
so-
at the very least, we could clean up the garbage.
Yep. Okay, so we're going to start with...
Gentlemen, psst. Can I hear your conversation? Please. Thank you.
You will. So let's go through the resolutions. I'm going to start, and then we can go around. Is that counterclockwise? Clockwise. We'll go around this way.
I'll read a bunch of them right out the bat. You know how quick I am.
I know. So, but we're going to give everyone a chance, and if they get tired of it, they can tell me. Okay, resolution number...
So we're starting tonight with 122.
Resolution number 122.
Just make sure you give me the dispensary.
Give you one?
The dispensary.
Of course. You can have all the dispensary ones, Pauls. Resolution 122 of 2024, authorizing entering into an execution of ambulance service agreement with Northern Dutchess Paramedics, Inc., NDP, jointly with the towns of Dover and Northeast. Whereas the town of Amenia, pursuant to the authority of General Municipal Law 122B, can contract individually or jointly for emergency medical services or general ambulance services or a combination of such services. And whereas the town of Amenia currently has a written agreement with Northern Dutchess Paramedics, Inc. for ambulance services, which agreement is due to expire on December 31st, 2024. And whereas the town board of the town of Amenia finds that emergency services are vital and necessary to the health and welfare of the residents of the town of Amenia, and it is in the best interest of the town of Amenia to join with the towns of Dover and Northeast and enter into an agreement with NDP to supply emergency medical services and general ambulance services to the towns of Amenia, Dover, and Northeast, including the village of Millerton. And whereas ambulance service contracts are considered professional services which are exempt from the bidding requirements under General Municipal Law 103 and the town of Amenia's procurement policy, and whereas the town board of the town of Amenia determines that this is a type 2 action under SECRA and therefore not subject to review under SECRA, now therefore be it resolved as follows. 1, the recitation set forth above or incorporated in this resolution is if fully set forth and adopted herein. 2, the town board of the town of Amenia hereby determines that this is a type 2 action under SECRA and therefore not subject to review under SECRA. 3, the town board determines the professional services to be provided by NDP to the town constitute professional services which are exempt from the bidding requirements under General Municipal Law 103 and the town of Amenia's procurement policy. 4, the town board acknowledges that they have read the terms and conditions set forth in the ambulance service proposal from NDP and hereby accepts the terms, conditions, and obligations as set forth in said proposal, a copy of which is affixed here too. 5, the town board hereby authorizes and directs the town supervisor to enter into and execute an ambulance service agreement with NDP by and on behalf of the town of Amenia in substantially the same form, subject to final review, edit, and approval of the attorney of the town as annexed here too. 6, the town supervisor is hereby directed to provide a copy of the ambulance service agreement with NDP, signed by all parties to the town clerk, who shall maintain the same in her files. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Supervisor Blackman?
Yes?
Council members Winters?
Yes.
Revelard?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Okay, Brad, you want to take the next one?
Sure.
23.
Well, hopefully this is in order from what the printouts are.
We hope.
123?
Approving resolution number?
That's it.
123?
123.
Okay. Approving proposal for engineering service in connection with preparation of map, plan, and report, application funding for the town of Amenia Water District Number 1 improvements. Whereas the town board of the town of Amenia the resolution number 86 of 2024, adopted by the town board on July 18th of 2024, approved the professional service agreement with Delaware Engineering, DPC, for the preparation of preliminary engineering report for the town of Amenia Water District Number 1. And whereas Delaware Engineering, DPC, has prepared the PER and has recommended various improvements to the town of Amenia Water District Number 1, which will require funding. And whereas the town board has acknowledged that the submission of the drinking water state revolving fund, DWSRF, and the bipartisan infrastructure law, BIL, application is the first step towards financing the recommended improvements. And whereas Delaware Engineering, DPC, has submitted a proposal to the town to prepare a map plan and report, MPR, which will assist in the description of the improvements needed and the cost of the improvements, all which will be necessary in order to submit a DWSRF and BIL application. And whereas the town board would like to retain the services of Delaware Engineering, DPC, to prepare the MPR and assist with the submission of the DWSRF and BIL application at the cost of $15,000, and in accordance with the professional services agreement, a copy which annexed hereunto, and whereas that this is a Type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SECRA, and therefore is not subject to a review under the SEQRA. And whereas the professional engineering services to be provided by Delaware Engineering, DPC, to the town constitute professional services which are exempt from the bidding requirements under General Municipal Law 103 and the Town of Amenia's procurement policy. Now and therefore let it be resolved as follows. 1, the recitations set forth above are incorporated in this resolution as if fully set forth and adopted herein. 2, the town board of the Town of Amenia has determined that this is a Type 2 action under SECRA and therefore not subject to review under SECRA. 3, the town board determines that the professional engineering service be provided by Delaware Engineering, DPC, to the town to constitute professional services that are exempt from the bidding requirements under General Municipal Law 103 and the Town of Amenia's procurement policy. 4, the board hereby approves the professional services agreement from Delaware Engineering, DPC, dated December 12, 2024, on behalf of the Town of Amenia Water District Number 1, a copy of which is annexed hereunto. 5, the town board authorizes the town supervisor to execute and annex professional service agreement from Delaware Engineering, DPC, after review by the attorney to the town. The town board, number 6, the town board hereby authorizes the payment of said engineering services in the amount of $15,000 from the budget line.
8340406-163. It's under the transmission your engineering line, under water.
Okay. And I will make the motion.
I'll second.
Supervisor Blackman.
Yes.
Councilmembers Winters.
Yes.
Revlon.
Yes.
Ham.
Yes.
You're up, Rosanna.
Resolution number 124, authorizing the preparation of bid specifications to be formally bid for the purchase and installation of a new digital LED sign for the Town of Amenia Town Hall. Whereas as the Town of Amenia Town Board is seeking to install at Town Hall a digital LED sign, and whereas in compliance with the Town of Amenia procurement policy, quotes were sought for the purchase and installation of a new digital LED sign, and all the quotes received were more than $20,000. And whereas pursuant of General Municipal Law number 103 and the Town of Amenia procurement policy, all purchases of supplies or equipment which will exceed $20,000 shall be subject to competitive bidding unless otherwise exempt. And whereas the town board has determined that this project must be competitively bid and is seeking authorization to prepare bid specifications to formally bid for the purchase and installation of a new LED sign for the town hall. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. Number one, the recitations set forth above are incorporated in this resolution as if fully set forth and adopted herein. Number two, the town board of the town of Amenia hereby authorizes the preparation of bid specifications to formally bid for the purchase and installation of a new digital LED sign for the town of Amenia Town Hall pursuant of General Municipal Law number 103 and the town of Amenia procurement policy. I make that motion.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Sure.
So what was the exercise that we went through, looking at all the different proposals that, we've already looked at the LED signs?
There were prices, but it turns out that it's not, you can't compare them apples to apples because each of the vendors makes signs of different dimensions or with different specifications.
Okay.
And so there's going to have to be a kind of an ideal sign, I guess, that's on the RFP. Because because talking to one and then talking to the other, they can't do exactly the same stuff. So it has to be put in a way that any of them could do what we want, although there may
So
be
in
differences.
other words, we're just wasting time, kind of sounds like. Well, because we've already got 3 or 4 bids for this LED
But
sign.
all those bids exceed the limit for competitive bidding. So once we went out, we looked at the bids, there was a lot of work for that, yes, and they got ideas what we wanted to do with it, but the actual amounts exceeded the limits under GML 103, which would require competitive bidding. So the resolution is simply.
So that's not competitive bidding, getting different bids?
No, it doesn't count after
Okay.
above a
Alright,
certain
alright,
amount.
All right, that's it, I'm done. Thank you. I just wanted to understand, because it just seemed like we were spinning our wheels here.
Well, that happens
Yeah.
sometimes.
Supervisor Blackman?
Oh, yes.
Council members Winters?
Yes.
Remillard?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Resolution number 125 of 2024, approving the hiring graphic designer for a new branding system for the town of Amenia. Whereas the town of Amenia is seeking a graphic designer to design a new branding system for its documents and signage and to refresh the town seal to make it legible in both print and digital applications. Whereas the proposals were requested by the town board for the graphic design service and the following responses were received. Eric Trott, 5,000. Rachel Kwan, 4,000. Gorgio Baravel. Giorgio, 3850. Whereas the town board has reviewed the proposals and determined that Giorgio Baravel of Demo Design submitted the lowest responsible proposal in the amount of $38.50. And whereas the services are to be provided by the graphic designer to the town constitute professional service, which is exempt from the bidding requirements under the General Municipal Law, Section 103. And whereas the town board is desirous of hiring Giorgio to provide the graphic designer service for a new branding system for the town of Amenia at the cost of $38.50 that's set forth the annex proposal. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. The recitations set forth above are incorporated in this resolution as fully set forth and adopted herein. The town board hereby determines the graphic designers to be provided by Giorgio, which we've already said 3 times, to the town constitute professional services, which are exempt from the bidding requirements under Municipal Law 103, which we already said. The town board hereby hires Giorgio to provide the graphic designer services for a new branding system to the town of Amenia at the cost of $38.50 and set forth in the annex proposal. The town board hereby authorized payment of the said graphic designer service to be paid from
Central storeroom?
budget line 1.01604.01.074.00, and I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Supervisor Blackman?
Yes.
Council members Winters?
Yes.
Remillard? Ham?
Yes.
Okay, resolution,
126.
126. Authorizing contract for Town of Amenia website redesign. Whereas the Town of Amenia is seeking to retain a qualified vendor to redesign the town's website, and whereas pursuant to the Town of Amenia procurement policy, the town board obtained proposals from qualified vendors to redesign the town's website, and whereas 3 proposals were received, and whereas the town board has reviewed the 3 proposals and has determined that Town Web submitted the lowest responsible proposal and desires to award the contract for the redesign of the town's website to Town Web in the amount of $10,770. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. 1, the recitations set forth above are incorporated in this resolution as if fully set forth and adopted herein. 2, the Town Board of the Town of Amenia hereby awards the contract for the redesign of the town's website to Town Web. 3, the Town Board of the Town of Amenia hereby authorizes and directs the payment for such services from the, Dawn,
Central Data Processing.
Central Data Processing line, which is budget line number 1.016804.01.000.00, in the amount of $10,770 in accordance with the proposal annexed here to. And the Town Board of Amenia hereby authorizes the supervisor to execute a contract for such services in accordance with the annexed proposal. I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Discussion?
Sure?
Mr. Town Lawyer, is there any way that we can make all of our resolutions look like number 126 versus number 125? Because there was a lot of repetitive things in 125, and 126 seems so clean and clear and to the point and done with it.
So there are, I can try to shorten it for you.
Okay.
I can do.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Supervisor?
Yes.
Councilmembers Winters?
Yes.
Fablelaro?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
And Judy, we will talk to you when there's a sort of a family tree set up for you to look at. Okay, Brad, you want to take the next one, which I think is 127, VRI.
Authorizing hiring VRI Environmental Services, Inc. Whereas the town board of the Town of Amenia is seeking to perform a system-wide valve testing and inventory throughout the Town of Amenia Water District Number 1 distribution system. And whereas VRI Environmental Services has submitted a proposal to locate and test all valves within the Town of Amenia Water District Number 1 distribution system, and to locate and test all the valves located within the Town of Amenia Water District Number 1 distribution system at a cost of $10,000, and in accordance with the proposal dated December 12, 2024, a copy of which is annexed hereunto. Whereas this is a Type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQRA, and is therefore not subject to review under SEQRA. And whereas the professional services to be provided by VRI Environmental Service, sorry, I have a terrible cold, Environmental Services to the town constitute professional services which are exempt from the bidding requirements under General Municipal Law 103 in the Town of Amenia's procurement policy. Now and therefore be it resolved, number 1, the recitations set forth above are incorporated in this resolution as if fully set forth and adopted herein. 2, the Town Board in the Town of Amenia has determined that this is a Type 2 action under SEQRA and therefore is not subject to review under SEQRA. Number 3, the Town Board determines that the professional services to be provided by VRI Environmental Services, Inc. to the town constitute professional services which are exempt from the bidding requirements under General Municipal Law 103 in the Town of Amenia's procurement policy. Number 4, the funds will be paid from the...
And was that the engineering?
Transmission distribution,
I'm sorry?
transmission distribution budget line?
Oh, okay.
Budget line number 1.0834004.06.000.00. Number 5, the Town Board hereby authorizes the Town Supervisor to execute any and all documentation necessary to effectuate this resolution. I make that motion.
I'll second that.
Supervisor Blackman?
Yes.
Councilmembers Winters?
Yes.
Fablelaro?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Which one's next?
Z3 consultants.
Yeah, I lost.
Okay. You okay with this one, Rosanna? And do you want me to take it out of rotation?
It's 128, but I
Okay.
don't know what I did with it.
Hiring, resolution number 128 of 2024, hiring Z3 Consultants, Inc. to perform duties of the temporary part-time building inspector and temporary part-time zoning administrator. Whereas the building department is in need of a temporary part-time building inspector and a temporary part-time zoning administrator for the building department to perform tasks such as inspections, permit reviews, zoning code review, etc. And whereas the Town Board of the Town of Amenia would like to retain a consultant to perform the duties of a temporary part-time building inspector and temporary part-time zoning and administrator for the building department. And whereas Z3 Consultants, Inc. has expressed an interest and submitted a proposal for serving in such capacity. Now therefore be resolved as follows. The recitations set forth above are incorporated in this resolution as if fully set forth and adopted herein. The Town Board of the Town of Amenia hereby employs Z3 Consultants, Inc. to perform the duties of temporary part-time building inspector and temporary part-time zoning administrator commencing after December 23rd, 2024. Z3 Consultants, Inc. shall be paid in accordance with their proposal dated December 12th, 2024. The town supervisor and the town bookkeeper are hereby authorized and directed to file any and all documentation necessary to effectuate the intent of this resolution. I make that motion. Just one little comment I'd like to make.
Sure.
I just had experience with a Z3
I'm sorry?
consultant, and he was excellent. So I think
Oh, good.
they were really good.
Yeah, and they filled in before. This is because the building inspector is going to be out for a couple of months for a medical procedure. Okay.
Supervisor Blackman?
Yes.
Councilmembers Winters?
Yes.
Revelard?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
All right.
And Paul wants to do all the cannabis things,
That's
so you
beautiful.
go right
Resolution,
ahead.
Right, well, we've been,
That's only if I can do the one for the economic development.
you can most certainly do that. This has been 11 months in the making here. Start making a little revenue for this town. Resolution number 129 of 2024, introducing local law number X of the year 2024. Does that sound right? Repealing local law number 1 of 2022 and opting in to allow cannabis retail dispensaries within the town of Amenia, whereas the town board of town of Amenia previously opted out of allowing the license and establishment of cannabis retail dispensaries within the town of Amenia by adoption of local law number 1 of 2022, and whereas the town board has determined that cannabis retail dispensaries should be permitted within the town of Amenia, and whereas the town board is desirous of enacting a local law to repeal local law number 1 of 2022 and allow cannabis retail dispensaries within the town of Amenia, and whereas the town board of the town of Amenia has considered the provisions of Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law, SECRA, and the regulations adopted thereafter at 6 NYSER, Part 617, and finds the local law to be a Type 2 action as defined, and therefore no further review is required under SECRA. Now therefore it be resolved as follows. The recitation above set forth or incorporated in this resolution are fully set forth and adopted therein. The town board hereby introduces for consideration for adoption of proposed local law number,
Is it 129 that gets filled in there, or that's not X?
No,
is it?
no, it's from,
still X.
It's still X.
all right, local law X, repealing local law number 1 of 2022 and opting in to allow cannabis retail dispensaries within the town of Amenia in the form of annex hereto. Town board has considered the provisions of Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law, SECRA, and the regulations that, I already said all this, adopted there under 6 NYCA, Part 16 finds the local law to be a Type 2 action, therefore no further review is required under SECRA. Town board hereby schedules a public hearing regarding the proposed adoption of the annexed local law for 7 p.m. on the day.
And I think Dawn is figuring that out as we speak.
So our January, if we're continuing with our first and third, it'll be January 16th.
So January the 16th, to be held at the Town of Hall, 4988 Route 22 in Amenia, New York, and the town clerk is directed to post a notice of public hearing in the town's official newspaper in the Millerton News, and the signboard maintained by the town clerk in the town hall not less than 10 days prior to the public hearing date, and that such notice shall be the following form. This adoption is of this local law is subject to a permissive referendum. I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Oh, I have something I wanted to mention now. Discussion, thank you, that's it. I called Alicia because there were 3 things when I went through this again that I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention. I was convinced by the end of my conversation with her, but the only one that
So this is
was
the
an
opt-in.
issue.
This is
the opt-in.
Oh, we do that on the next
opt-in.
one.
Yeah, this is
Okay,
the
never
opt-in.
mind, we don't
This
need
is
to
the
discuss
opt-in.
that. Okay, so we can take a vote
Supervisor?
now. Yes.
Councilmembers Winters?
Yes.
Revelard?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
All right, so now, whenever I'm
See,
done
there were
with this
too many.
resolution- when
Okay.
I'm done with this resolution.
All right, there we go.
You can say discussion.
Thank you.
Resolution number 130 of 2024, introducing proposed local law number X of the year 2024 to amend the chapter 121 of the town code zoning to regulate adult cannabis retail dispensaries. Whereas the town board of town of Amenia previously opted out of allowing the licensed establishment of adult use cannabis retail dispensaries within the town of Amenia by adoption of local law number 1 of 2022, whereas the town board has determined that adult use cannabis retail dispensaries should be permitted within the town of Amenia, has introduced a local law to repeal local law number 1 of 2022 and allow adult use cannabis retail dispensaries within the town of Amenia. And whereas it has come to the attention of the town board that chapter 12 in light entitled zoning is in need of being amended in order to regulate adult use cannabis retail dispensaries to protect neighboring properties and health and welfare of the community, provide provisions that govern the time, place, manner, and adult use retail dispensaries, retail dispensary operations, whereas the town board determines the proposed action is a type 1 action pursuant to Article 8 Environmental Conservation Law, Part 617 NICR, commonly known as SECRA, which requires a full environmental assessment form be complied with prior to adoption. And whereas the town board has reviewed part 1 of FEEF and completed the town's planning consultant a copy which is annexed herefor and made part hereof, and whereas the proposed local law is an action for which no other involved agencies, and therefore the town board is by default the lead agency for this action. Now therefore it be resolved as follows. The citation set before it in this resolution is fully set forth and adopted herein, and town board introduced for the consideration of its adoption proposed local law number X of 2024, which I've already all said, number 2, number 3, number 4.
Can you do that again?
Well, I'm repeating this. So.
Doing it, I know.
They aren't 100% repeating.
Okay, all right, sorry. The town board hereby introduces consideration of its adoption post local law number X of 2024 to amend chapter 121 of the town code zoning to regulate adult use cannabis retail dispensaries in the form of annex hereto. Town board has determined that the enactment of the aforementioned local law is a type 1 action pursuant to Article 8 of Environmental Conservation Law, Part 617 NICR, commonly known as SECRA, reserves its obligation to make determination of significance until after the public hearing. The town board is the only agency approving the authority of the adoption of this local law and therefore lead agency for the purpose of SECRA. The town board hereby is scheduled a public hearing regarding the proposed adoption of the annex local law for 7 p.m. on January the 16th to be held at the Town Hall, 4988 Route 22, Amenia, New York, and the town clerk is directed to post a notice public hearing in the town's official newspaper, the Millerton News, and signboard maintained by the town clerk in the town hall not less than 10 days prior to its public hearing date. That such notice shall be as following form. The town board further directs town clerk to act as follows with respect to the proposed local law. Serve a copy of this resolution, annex proposal local law, part 1 of the full environmental assessment form and notice of public hearing to the municipal court for each of you municipally not less than 10 days prior to the public hearing. Serve a copy of this resolution and annex proposed local law in part 1 of the full environmental assessment form to Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development for advisory review in accordance with 239-1 and 239-M of the general municipal law, and to serve a copy of this resolution annex local law and notice of public hearing to the town of Amenia Planning Board for its review and recommendation prior to said public hearing. And I will make that motion.
And I'll second that unless anyone.
All right, now you get your discussion.
But I do have a question, though.
Yes, okay, discussion.
Yeah, discussion. So so we're gonna have the the sign. When you said that you're not gonna put it on that real crowded sign, right? You put it on the door or someplace?
I'm
The
sorry.
official town clerk bulletin board is at the end of this hall. It says official town clerk bulletin board, and there is a spot where it specifically goes for public notices. It's on the top. I have all the rules for the building, then I have our hours and our meetings for our committees, and then the last one, it clearly marks all of our notices.
Okay. I just wanna make sure
That's
it's
where
clearly
I
marked. I
have
don't want
to-
anybody coming back later and saying, I didn't see it because.
That's where it has to be posted.
People are gonna always say that.
It'll also be on Monday on our website.
Okay.
As we all know, the Millerton News works very hard all year round. They get 2 weeks off because of publication. So that's why it, is going to the second meeting in January, because
You're
we
gonna get a
have to meet.
vacation?
We
I
have-
don't
we-
believe it.
So we have to wait, so yes.
And we don't have time at the first meeting
It'll
anyway.
be
don't.
sent,
So go,
yeah, but it'll be sent out on Monday.
so what's your, you have.
Okay,
some-
no, just the one point I wanted to make, I hadn't noticed this before, but going through it again today, the on-farm dispensaries, there's a maximum of 3 dispensaries in town, 3 regular dispensaries. There's no limit on the number of on-farm dispensaries.
Okay.
Alicia seemed to think that, that going through all this rigmarole will prevent a lot of farmers from having the idea of doing this. I
Yep.
just wanted to make sure everyone was aware of that, because I hadn't seen it before.
That's all.
So,
So Paul, am I
I'm not trying to, I just want to bring attention to, so that way,
Yes.
when she's making an excellent point, that we know we're leaving the holiday season and beginning the new year. With that being said, I have to send it to Dutchess County Department of Planning and our planning board. With that, look at the calendar, you looked at their calendar, their meetings aren't gonna have time to give you comments, so you'll probably have to keep the public hearing open to your first meeting in February.
of course.
So that, out of fairness, I want you guys to know that, so you're not here in January, gonna go on and tell me it's been 13 months.
Well, it's gonna be 13 months. That's just
Okay.
the way this has
But
been
just so you
drawn out to
understand,
cost
so
us.
it's clear to the board, what the difference is a continuation of a public hearing versus a closing of the public
Okay.
hearing.
The state already so regulates, and it's so hard to get a license, right? They have a limited amount of license that they're issuing. So if we get 3, 4, 5 farmers in our community that successfully get that license, I would say we're blessed. We're probably only gonna have 1 or 2.
Okay, so did we vote, Dawn?
No, we passed it.
Oh, because I had my
And you had your
discussion.
comments.
Okay, thank you.
All
Leave
right,
that out there.
now we're ready to vote.
Supervisor Blackman,
Yes.
council members Winters,
Yes.
Yes.
Millard, Ham.
yes.
Okay,
Rosanna.
Roseanne, this is yours.
All right, this is resolution number
131.
131 of 2024, forming Economic Development Committee and appointing committee members. Whereas the town board of the town of Amenia recently adopted a local law which established provisions for the formation of advisory boards by resolution, and whereas the town board desires to establish the town of Amenia Economic Development Committee to advise the town board regarding potential avenues of economic growth and development within the town of Amenia through strategic planning, partnerships, and community engagement, and whereas this committee will operate in accordance with the town code and the bylaws of the town of Amenia Economic Development Committee, a copy of which has been reviewed and approved by the town board and is annexed hereto and made a part hereof. Now therefore be it resolved as follows. The recitations set forth above are incorporated in this resolution as if fully set forth and adopted herein. The town, number 2, the Town of Amenia Economic Development Committee is hereby created and will operate in accordance with the town code and the bylaws of the Town of Amenia Economic Development Committee, a copy of which is annexed hereto and made a part hereof. The Town of Amenia Economic Development Committee will be advisory in nature and shall act in advisory capacity only to the town board. The Town of Amenia Economic Development Committee shall meet at least quarterly or as determined by their members, with all meeting minutes being submitted to the town clerk for publication and submission to the town board, and shall report at least annually to the town board on its activities and progress made towards achieving the economic goals. Number 5, the Town of Amenia Economic Development Committee shall consist of 5 members who shall serve no more than 3 consecutive 2-year terms, must be comprised of members or residents of the town of Amenia, shall have such qualifications determined appropriate by the town board of the town of Amenia, except that no person who is a member of the town board shall be a member of the committee, and all members serve at the pleasure of the town board. The town board hereby appoints the following initial 5 members to serve on the Town of Amenia Economic Development Committee for a 2-year term commencing January 1st, 2025. And they would be Ken Topolsky, James Olinger, Tom Buda-Cavalli, Richard Fields, and Damian Gutierrez. And, I make that motion.
I'll second.
Supervisor Blackman,
Yes.
council members Winters,
Yes,
Revillard,
Yes.
Ham.
Yes.
excellent.
I'll do the
More
next one.
business. That's what we need.
Okay.
I'll do the next one.
Thank you.
Resolution number
32.
It's
132.
Okay.
132.
Authorizing purchase of a large format scanner for the town of Amenia. Whereas the town of Amenia is seeking to purchase a large format scanner for the town use, and whereas pursuant to town of Amenia procurement policy, the town board obtains 3 quotes for the purchase of a new large format scanner, and whereas the town board has reviewed the proposal and has determined that context esti- co- is that-
Canon
Actually,
image,
it's
It's-
actually Canon, it's this one.
Canon
that's
image,
the new
Yeah,
one.
yeah, we got to scratch some stuff out.
Canon, where does it say?
Canon image Prograph TM300.
Okay, Canon Progress, whatever she said. Let me see.
In the amount of $9,380.
Okay.
Is the lowest, it's lowest proposal state bid.
Okay. Now therefore resolved as follows. Recitation set forth and incorporated in this resolution as if fully set forth and herein adopted herein, the town board authorizes the purchase of the printer
You can keep that.
for the amount of,
$9,380.
there it is. The town board hereby authorizes the payment to the company for the large format sheet-fed scanner, 600 DPI optical, to be paid from the,
Our central store room, our supplies is line number 16604.01.074.
thank you, I'll make that motion.
Second that?
Oh, go ahead.
That's all right, I just had I just wanted to discuss.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to explain to the community.
That's what I was just going to do.
Beautiful.
Okay, just so people understand what this is, the building department has been, for a while now, microfiching?
Laser fiching.
Laser fiching, of
Oh,
course.
laser fiching.
Laser fiching documents in the building department, and the planning and zoning department have an equally large, possibly larger number of documents, which we would like to have them scan, so that all of this stuff can be available online and searchable, which nothing is now, and it's very hard for anyone to find anything. Well, anyone from outside of the building department to find something in the building department or the planning zoning room. So, this scanner, which is also a printer, will allow this work to proceed. It'll be located in the planning zoning room. It'll allow for scanning of drawings, which we haven't had the capability for. And that means that instead of them being stashed all over the building, that you can access everything on a computer, which I think will be a huge benefit for people who are trying to find out about things that are underway or see how their project is progressing. Hopefully, we'll even get the...
As a construction guy, I'll tell you, 50 years from now, the next construction person is going to thank us for being able to have those documents around.
Absolutely. So anyway, that's the point of that. And the printer, the printer part of it can be used for signage. So like when the rec committee has an event, they can just print it on this printer and then just stick it up on a sandwich board as opposed to doing it by hand.
My
That's the
company
idea.
uses this larger Canon roll printer. It's a really good machine and it lasts well. The one I've seen has been around at least 15 years, or that I have on my job site.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, this one here is for,
Supervisor Blackman,
Yes.
Council members Winters,
yes, I thought we were
Revillard.
there.
Yes.
Ham.
Yes.
Thank you guys for adding and complementing the laser fiche program. That's been going so well. So
Great.
thank
This
you.
this one should go out to Kyle Finelli, because I think he should be competing with his dad, Mr. Finelli.
Kyle Finelli.
Kyle Finelli?
The son of Gary.
Oh, the son of Gary.
Finelli. I think Kyle should be competing with his dad on this one, honestly.
Call him up.
Actually, Gary has already sent,
I know
Yeah.
Gary already did. I
Yeah.
told Kyle to give him a little competition.
a lot of
Resolution number 133 of 2024, authorizing posting of an invitation for local residents to submit suggestions for a refreshed town seal. Come on, folks, we haven't had this thing updated in years. Get out there. Whereas the town of Amenia is planning to hire a graphic designer to come up with new design for a town of Amenia town seal, and whereas the town board would like to invite the town of Amenia residents to submit suggestions for a new town seal in accordance with with the town seal submission guidelines, a copy which is here therefore annexed, which I'll read here in a minute.
You don't have to read it.
I'm going to read it anyway so the town knows. Because everyone's gonna say, what's the guidelines?
Well, it's posted on the website.
I know, but how many people actually go on there and can
Just trying
find
to save you
anything?
having to read, that's
The
all.
the sections of said herefore above are incorporated in this resolution as it fully set forth and adopted therein. The town board of the town of Amenia hereby authorizes the posting of an invitation for local residents to submit suggestions for a new town seal in accordance with the town seal submission guidelines, a copy of which I'm about to read to you. Intent, we plan to hire a graphic designer to come up with a new design for the Amenia Town seal. As we can find no original version of the seal as we use now, it's too hard to see when it's shrunk down, like on the town documents. The designer will also be helping select an official font and color for the signage. We are looking for a simpler image so it can be understood, whether reduced, enlarged for a highway sign. Submission. You could draw or just describe your idea for the seal. You know, this would be a great competition for if any of you teachers from Weebatuck are looking or paying attention. It might be based on your favorite site or a building in Amenia Town Hall, Octagon Bank, the fountain, charcoal kilns, old schoolhouse, or even historical figure or animal. The board will look for the icon selected by a majority of entries or a terrific image and then turn it over to the graphic designer. He or she will present 3 concepts to the town board. If the town board approves this approach, we'll post our website, Channel 22, community, we'll get it all out there. And we will set the deadline of noon, Wednesday, January 29th. Submissions must be received by hand or email. I would encourage the school to be involved in this strongly. With your name, phone number, email, address separate from the image and description. We're not returning your images to you, so you send it to us, it's ours. Decision, town board will review the submissions individually ahead of our regular meeting on February 6th. Ideally, with the graphic designer present, we will try to reach a consensus that night and contact the winners directly. All right, Amenia, here's your chance. We're reimagining this town as we keep working on it. Here's another shot at it. I will make that motion.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
Oh, discussion.
It's only open to residents?
That's what it seemed to say.
Okay,
you
so
could say that.
that's kind of tricky when you open it up to the school district because.
Well, don't Amenia and Wassaic kids go up to the school? So
Yeah, but so do kids from Millerton.
I
Is
do,
that what
and
you-
you have your.
Northeast and Copac.
Yeah.
Ingram and Dover.
Does it say for only town
It
residents?
should only be for town residents. I believe it should be for town residents.
Well, I would hate if just because some kid happens to, we're all kind of one community since our kids all go to the same school. If some kid out
making
of
this community bigger and bigger, Paul.
Well,
Soon
it's-
it'll be the state of New York.
It's Dover, Amenia, and Millerton since I've been a kid. I'll
Okay,
make that
so-
motion, and we second it.
Well, then we have to clarify that. Is it for residents?
It doesn't say in here, does it?
I don't think it does say it's
Then
for.
I want it to say that. Residents for the town of Amenia.
Is that a motion, Rosanna?
That's a motion for, yes, to change this to state,
To amend it to resident only?
right.
Okay.
Somebody's got to second her motion.
Oh, sorry,
Leo.
I'll second that.
Leo did. Supervisor Blackman.
Yes.
Winters.
No.
Revillard.
So this is a motion as amended?
This is just a
just-
motion to
To
amend
amend this.
This.
the
This,
town seal
Competition.
submission guidelines to include resident only.
resident only.
So
Town of
we're,
Amenia,
so we're
town
not
of
actually going forward with this, we're just motioning to amend this
She's
document?
just making a motion.
And then we're going to vote on it again,
to-
right?
Yeah, correct. She's making a motion
Yes.
to amend this.
Yes.
Rosanna. Okay, so the addition carries. So it'll be 5. Submission by town of Amenia. Where's that at? Submission. Okay, now, we're going back to the original resolution of 133 as
With
it was
that
read
added.
aloud.
Okay.
Okay, Supervisor Blackman,
Yes.
Winters,
Yes.
Revillard,
Yes.
Ham.
Yes.
Okay. The tax cert proceedings,
There
I'll
you go.
read that.
Tax cert is sufficient.
What?
just tax cert.
Yeah, I know, it's too weird otherwise.
cert.
And I even took Latin once.
Good enough.
Okay, authorizing settlement, this is Resolution 133 of tax cert proceedings commenced by Tower Hill 2014 LLC. Whereas there's now pending in the Dutchess County Supreme Court tax cert proceedings commenced in 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024 by Tower Hill 2014 LLC regarding a parcel of property located at 365 to 381 Tower Hill Road in the town of Amenia, tax map number 13200-7065-00-266-271-0000, seeking a reduction and correction of the 2019 through 2024 assessments for the respective tax rolls. And whereas the town assessor and special counsel have recommended a settlement on the 2019 to 2024 tax review proceedings, now therefore it be resolved as follow. The recitations set forth above are incorporated in this resolution as if fully set forth and adopted herein. The town board of the town of Amenia hereby approves the settlement of the tax review proceedings for the years 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024 on behalf of the town of Amenia as provided for in Schedule A, annexed here 2. The town board of the town of Amenia hereby approves a stipulation of discontinuance of the tax review proceedings seeking a reduction of the 2024 tax assessment roll on the behalf of the town of Amenia. The town supervisor, town assessor, and Shane J. Egan, Esquire, special counsel to the town of Amenia are hereby authorized to take all actions necessary and appropriate to effectuate the terms of this resolution. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Supervisor Blackman?
Yes.
Council members Winters?
Yes.
Repelart?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Okay, that's our last resolution. That was some.
No.
Oh,
No.
no. Oh, the transfer. Oh, right.
36.
I'm sorry. I checked it off in error.
I'm not reading that one. That's too many numbers. I want to go
Okay.
get some water.
I got it.
Are you going to try that, Brad?
Yep.
Okay.
Transfer of funds December 2024. Whereas the town board has the authority to transfer funds when necessary or unanticipated, it says or instead of for, or to amend the budget. And whereas the budget amendment of the general fund to increase 2260.01 public safety services other by $2,444.20 and increase 30204.01 public safety comm services by $2,444.20 for reimbursement of DC Sheriff Services and for Congregation Beth David. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund to increase 14204.01 attorney CE by 15,000 and decrease 14404.01 engineer CE by 15,000. Whereas budget amendment of the general fund to increase 31201.0175 police and constable PS special events by 500 and decrease 31202.01 police and constable equipment by 500. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund to increase 36204.01 safety inspection CE by 1,000 and decrease 36204.01.074 safety inspection CE supplies by 1,000. Whereas budget amendment in general fund to increase 90608.08 medical insurance town by $381.19 and decrease 90608.01.037 medical insurance town deductible by $381.19. Whereas budget amendment the general fund to increase 90108.01 state retirement by $5,277.03 and increase 16704.01.061 central print mail legals by $300 increase 54104.01.106 sidewalks EQ by 800 and increase 80204.01 planning CE by 7,000 decrease 1004.01.049 special items contingency by $13,377.03.
Rather than taking over, Brad, you're getting phlegmy.
Be my guest.
Whereas budget amendment in the general fund to increase 97107.01.850 by $13,401.75 and decrease 97307.01.850 for reclassification of interest on debt service, whereas budget amendment in the general fund to increase 90108.03 state retirement in the highway fund by $5,671.07 and decrease 90608.03.037 medical insurance town deductible by $5,000 and decrease 51424.03 snow removal CE by $671.07 for retirement expenses. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund to increase 17104.03 admin contractual labor in the highway fund by $7,000 and increase 51104.03 general repairs CE by $4,500 and increase 51304.03 machinery CE by $5,000 and decrease 51304.03.036 machinery CE diesel by $16,500. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund to increase 962.03 budgetary provisions for other uses by $60,000 and decrease 5112.03.035 improvement CE capital projects by $60,000 for transfer into highway reserve account. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund increase $83,204.06 source pump power CE in the water fund by $2,000 and decrease 83202.06 source power pump EQ by $2,000. Be it further resolved that the Amenia Town Board authorizes the bookkeeper to encumber all claims against the town that are received between December 19th and December 31st, 2024. Now therefore be resolved, the Town Board authorizes the transfer of necessary budget lines to process the transactions. I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Go ahead. Sorry. I'll second.
Sorry, Brad.
It's okay, thank you.
Supervisor?
Yes.
Councilmembers Winters?
Yes.
Revillard?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Great. That's the end of the resolutions. Any other matters people want to bring up?
I just want to wish the town of Amenia Merry Christmas. Hanukkah starts the day after. Happy Hanukkah. Kwanzaa starts the day after. Might have seemed like a struggle here for this town board this year, but in the end, we got a lot done. I'm personally proud of all the discussions that we've had, even when we haven't agreed, and the difficulty that we faced. I mean, I think our greatest achievement is getting someone 35 years old on this town board. It's been a long time since we've had somebody that young serving on this town board. I think that was a good thing that happened. I'm looking forward to 2025. Thank you.
29.
I would like to also make a comment. I would like to wish everybody happy holidays, but I believe actually Hanukkah starts the evening of December 25th. It actually starts.
Yeah, we're getting the
the
jump on you this year.
What's that?
Nothing.
So, yes. So, but that's not, so I would also, in the vein of some discussion that we did have, I would like to, just mention some things that perhaps we should have on our next agenda, or an agenda in the near future. One of them being, the consent, idea of a consent agenda, so that we don't have to read all of these resolutions. And number two, I also want to make sure that we do not forget the rec commission and making sure that we can create that position for a lifeguard. So that should come up early in the year. I don't know, well, it has to come up on, actually,
At
make sure
reorg.
it's on the reorg meeting. So anybody else have any things that we need to?
I think it's great that rec is pursuing this. Whenever my kids were real young, we're talking 10 years ago or even longer, 10, 15 years ago, we would go, Sunday mornings, we would go ice skating at Millbrook, and then we would come to Maplebrook, go swimming, and then go home and Mom would have Sunday dinner cooked. It's been a long time coming. I know Rosanna's been working hard. I know a young lady from our community who, even though she doesn't go to school here, even though she doesn't go to school in our community, she's still volunteering to, she went out and got herself certified to be a lifeguard so that it opens up to the community, because that's what part of being this community is. And that's what how these kids were raised. So I'm real proud of that young lady who stepped up, that Miss Claire Lovell's daughter. Kyra there. That's pretty cool. Thank you.
Brad, do you have anything? Yes.
Yeah, I do. And I just want to say that I'm truly grateful for all of you to come up and participate, your public comments. And I would like to see more of that in the new year, of course. But I really am truly grateful for the opportunity to hold this position and serve you. And I really can't thank you enough. And I wish all of you over this holiday season that you find peace and serenity in your own lives and share that with your friends and family. That's it.
Okay, any town board comments? I think that was town board comments.
That was town board comments.
Okay, so public comment, if anyone has anything else to say.
Come on, I'm sure somebody has to have something.
Well, you don't have to force Judy.
Well, Judy is not going to pass up the opportunity to tell us we're wrong. Come on. Or she might even tell us we did good for once.
My concern about the petition for the wastewater district is that in the normal sequence of events under Town Law 190, a petition comes from the people in the town who would like to form a district before a map or anything else has been created. In this instance, they've already been created.
That's not the way it works.
Because
I'm sorry, you're talking about wastewater?
I'll be happy to get my phone and read the law to you. It's, when you're talking about a petition starting the process, the maps and all of that are done afterwards. The town looks at the petition, says, yes, this is a good idea, let's get the ball rolling. If there's going to be people going around with petitions, with maps and information on what a charge might be, I want to see and I want to make sure that that's all posted publicly somewhere before people have someone knock on their door and say, would you like to sign this? It will only cost you such and such.
So then I would highly recommend you get on the wastewater because I was there for 3 years and the route that we took, we researched it and we reached out to the state comptroller's office and we went the proper route.
You're missing the point. There's more than one way to start a district. And when you use the petition route, which is what you apparently are going to do instead of passing a resolution and then making it subject to permissive referendum, it starts with a petition and then the maps are done. I want to make sure that if people are asked to sign a petition, that they are given information that is absolutely correct. And I want it to be posted so that if someone thinks there might be something that's less than correct there, we have a chance to look at it and get that information
And that's
out.
why the map and the plan are important, because otherwise the engineer can't make those calculations and can't indicate what the extent of the district is. So it really doesn't help the residents to not have that information.
No, but it's usually done afterwards. And I've seen figures that it would only cost X number of dollars per year, and those all include presupposed grants. And when you submit it to the commissioner, you can't submit what the yearly cost will be, taking into account grants that have not been gotten yet.
Right. I mean,
so I want to make sure the information that goes out is correct.
Okay,
That's
but just
all.
to make you feel better, Judy, the wastewater committee has been very good about informing the community about what they're doing, and also have said repeatedly that they're not going to proceed any further if they can't get the grants that they need to bring the price down to what they feel it should be so it's affordable. So, I mean, that's been said for years now, and I don't think they've
Mr.
changed
Miller
their
made the
mind.
point that each signature has to be notarized. So I'm thinking that any resident that
Oh, yeah, actually, you're going to have a notary walk around
yeah,
and sign a sheet.
that's what has to
yeah.
happen. So I'm not gonna, if I'm having
but-
something signed, I'm gonna be sure, I'm gonna think that our residents are smart enough to have all the information before they sign a piece of paper with the notary right there next to them. That's what I would think.
I would love to say that everyone in government is pure of heart and would never mislead anyone
not the
and
government. I'm
might
talking
not
about
say
the
something.
presidents.
This is the government, because people who are part of a committee, which is, believe it or not, a subset of the government here, are the ones who are going to be walking around giving the information.
Maybe I can calm your fears and concerns a little bit. And the reason I asked earlier, Charlie's creating a spreadsheet, because and gives it to the board members ahead of time, is because it gives us an opportunity to check up on things. And that would be my intention, because in the past round of this, when people were, some people did speak to me about their concerns about the surveys. But that was the reason I asked that question.
Well, I thought the spreadsheet you were talking about was just a list of the people in the district.
Right.
Well,
So
there are numerous spreadsheets on the
people
website.
about the door-to-door knocking campaign I'm talking about.
Right, and what I have heard every time I ask
Yeah.
is that it'll cost you $750 a
Right.
year. Not that it will cost you that if we get X, Y, and Z grants, and that if we don't, we're not going to. Again, I'm not trying to knock anybody. I know that everybody on that committee busted their butts to try to do a good job. Communication is a two-way thing, and sometimes people hear part of what they're told and not the other part of what they're told. I want to make sure that everyone has a very clear idea of what they're signing if they sign a petition.
Sure. We'll take a
That's
look at
all.
everything that's on the wastewater commission's website, because it's pretty extensive, and I know people, hear what they want to hear or may not hear everything, but if they don't take a look at the information that's published, then it's sort of,
I have, and there's already a disagreement.
No.
Yeah.
What? I'm sorry?
I have looked, and there's already a disagreement on whether anything's going to wind up going on the tax rolls. What the committee is saying is that no, nothing will come from assessments, and I do not believe that's true. So,
Judy, the other thing I just want to clarify is that being a notary myself.
Discussing this.
Oh, one more thing, please.
Yep.
Being a notary myself, all the notary does, just for public.
I know I'm a notary too.
Yeah, they just.
All I do is,
just
all they're
says-
acknowledging is that the person is who they are, which means
Right.
somebody better haul out a
They're not. They're not.
driver's license.
They're not codifying the content. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
right. It's the people that I
Right.
want to make sure have the
Right.
information.
Okay. Unless Charlie feels compelled to say anything about the process, I think we'll close. Okay.
So, real
then-
quick,
Oh, wait,
Supervisor,
What?
now somebody has something to say.
Oh, yes, please.
You gotta go to Mike there, Mr.
I think he knows that.
Ken.
Just a few very quick comments. The first one has to do with grants. And I think the town needs to be vigilant on finding more grants. There was one that was listed on Congressman Ryan's site that we didn't apply for. It's a firefighter's grant. Now, I know you're going to say, that's the fire district, it's not our business. However, we give money to the fire district. What if we found an extra? We do. We take tax money and someone gives it to them. I'm assuming, however the mechanism is, if we could help them and say, here's a grant for $60,000, that's $60,000 less taxes we have to pay. The deadline for that grant is tomorrow, so I don't think we're going to make it. However, the grant was out there, and there are several grants like that I go back and I look and I see we might be missing. There's got to be a way we can do that better.
Okay. Well, if you see grants that you think we should be applying for, send them
I
in.
certainly will. I assume that we have a grant person doing all of that.
We do, and there are issues.
And I've heard mixed things from people. Some think they're great, some think they're not very good at all. So that's why I'm suggesting the board review their grant
Right.
division.
What I do know is anytime a town board member comes across a grant, we do share it amongst ourselves and make sure it gets out.
That's why I'm telling you about the firefighters grant. It's one I just came across. There was another one you were already going for. The second thing, this is something I have some expertise in, and it's called branding. You tell me what Amenia is branded. Before you even design a logo, you got to know what that logo is selling, for want of a better word. I've asked a couple of people when you started this, what is the brand of Amenia? What is it that we believe our town is? What is the message when you see it, the picture that says, this is who we are?
That's what we discussed earlier.
I think opening it up to the community is great. Opening it up to school children is noble, but you are selling the town. You're saying, come here. You'll be peaceful here. This is what we aspire to be. This is who we are. It's affirmational. I don't think this process is going to give you that. It'll give you a starting point, a jumping off point. But creating a brand is not a 30-day, okay, draw a picture and send it in. I think you really need to decide, we really need to decide who we are and make sure the people who are sending in those pictures all agree this is who we are. And something great will come for it, and it might come from someone's child. But you can't just do it blind. The third thing I'd like to say is thank you. I think you all do a wonderful job. I think you are so far overextended, but yet you managed to get it all done. So despite the comments of those of us who feel compelled to criticize, it is only done because we want to find our way to help or whatever. Thank you. I wish you all and all your loved ones a happy, healthy, peaceful, safe 2025.
Thank you so much, Ken.
Thank you.
So just I wanted to give on a good note with Judy, for recreation, as soon as we get those minutes and the board knows they heard your request, lifeguard is one of the positions that the town currently has. So you may not see it in the reorg because we don't have that position hasn't been advertised. We haven't done our due diligence in having it part of the reorganizational document.
But that doesn't mean it's budgeted.
But it's not, they have some things that they have to figure out.
Okay.
You know, you're gonna have to figure out where are you coming from, where's your
Right.
money, who are you taking from? Right, but the position exists, so that way you guys feel like you're starting from ground zero. We've had a lifeguard before, our summer camps have had lifeguards when we had summer camp. Ian brought up some good points about insurance, so there's some things to talk about. So the request has been heard, but a couple things that have to come from. So you won't see it at reorg, I'm just telling you, there's no way he can do it.
So we don't have to
Okay.
create the position. It's
You
already
don't have to,
created.
it exists.
All right, so that was what the resolution,
Lifeguard.
that's what we needed, was the creation of it. Now that it's already created, then we can move forward to what else is
What
needed.
budget line, how you're gonna transfer,
Right.
how you're gonna allocate,
Exactly
and then
right.
confirming the insurance, because we know that you're looking to have it at Maplebrook, but our attorney may not know where it is, and that's where we've always had our swimming, and how we've used our lifeguards previously. So we just need to confirm that it's gonna be a town-sponsored event, and that our insurance is going to be covering it, and
Right.
then he's gonna wanna see
Which
the
I think we already
insurance
looked
pop.
into. When we originally talked about this way back in January.
But he just wants to see all that for the
Right,
resolution.
So I think we
So
did.
all the components that need to come.
That's when we hire somebody,
Okay, I'm
No.
going to suggest we adjourn,
Yes.
because we're like way beyond
Time is
my
8:43.
tolerance.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'm ready to go
Well,
home. I'm
It's
ready to go
before
sell.
9
I mean,
o'clock.
I'm ready to
You
go
have
wait
the
for
second.
Christmas.
You have the second.
second.
Oh,
Thank
Rosanna
you.
beat you.
I'm ready to go wait for Santa and have some cookies.
Have a
and
lovely
eggnog.
time.
I am.
A lot of
Okay, good night, everyone.
Good
Thanks.
night,
for
everyone. Thank you
being
very
here.
much. Merry Christmas.
Oh, we have to